How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. We are back for another week and I hope every single one of you have had a very good weekend. Now, of course, this week the Premier League is back. Aston Villa, Sheffield United and Arsenal, Manchester City kicking things off on Wednesday night. But today we're going to be talking about Norwich City because one of their players has tested positive for coronavirus. We're also going to be talking about Calum Hudson because he's revealed that the police are taking no further action in his rape allegation. And the last piece of news involves Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang because he's made it very, very clear what the Arsenal board need to do if they want him to sign a new contract.
I represent my fucking self.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So the first place we're going to start is Norwich City and the news that broke over the course of the weekend that one of their players has tested positive for coronavirus in the latest rounds of testing. But there's a little twist to this because Norwich played Spurs over the course of the weekend. And it's been confirmed that this player played in that game. Now, of course, there's been so many conspiracy theories as soon as that was confirmed that Spurs would have to go into isolation and their game against Manchester United next week would be in doubt. And it's one of the concerns that I've raised all along. And I've said, what happens if this happens? But they've gone on to outline what is actually going to happen. And the report says that a Norwich player and one other person at a Premier League club has tested positive for coronavirus in the latest round of testing. The player was one of 2 positive cases from 1,200 tests, and reports confirm he played in Friday's behind the closed doors game against Spurs. He must self-isolate for 7 days, which rules him out of Norwich's Premier League game against Southampton this Friday. A statement from Norwich City read, Norwich can confirm that one of its players has returned a positive test result following the recent round of COVID-19 testing. In line with Premier League's protocols, the player will now self-isolate for a period of 7 days before being tested again at a later date. The player must return a negative test result before being able to resume training. The club will not name the player in question and ask that his requests for privacy and confidentiality are respected at this time. Norwich beat Tottenham 2-1 on Friday, but players from either club who may have come in contact with the player will not have to self-isolate as they are not deemed to have been in contact for long enough, according to government advice. Close contact is defined by the government as being within 2 metres of someone who has a confirmed case for 15 minutes or more. Tottenham have reiterated that the Norwich player had no close contact with any of their squad members during Friday's friendly fixture and have confirmed that their playing and non-playing staff will not need to self-isolate for 7 days. So it's a bit of an interesting one. And looking at the report, there's a couple of things that, I have to pick up on straight away. And you've got to respect the fact that Norwich want to keep it private and everything else. But it's very clear that because he's got to go and self-isolate for 7 days, he now has to miss their opening league game. So when it comes to the first game that Norwich play back, it's going to be pretty obvious who it is because he won't be in the squad. Now, if they have any injuries or sudden random dropouts, there might be 2 or 3 names and you could kind of look at. But I think it's going to be pretty evident within the next week who it is. Do we really need to know? Probably not. And you've got to respect the fact that the player wants, his privacy and confidentiality. But yeah, we're going to find out soon enough, especially with him playing, like I said, because everyone will notice that he's not in the side. And people will look at players that played in the game against Spurs, for example, know who's fit, know who may have picked up an injury, and then go to the first Premier League game and go, well, he's missing. So it's obviously him. So yeah, that's a bit of a strange one. And also this one about the government guidelines and, the self-isolation and being in close contact and the social distancing. When did this 15 minutes come in? This is the first time I've actually heard of this. So you're telling me that I could have actually gone and visited my parents all along, as long as it was under 15 minutes? What happens if you're in contact with someone for 14 minutes? You know, is there a cut-off point? Does it say at 14 minutes? No, we're still not at the 15 yet. It's fine. Don't sound right to me. It just sounds weird. I don't know what you guys think about that, but it just seems weird. We're told social distancing is there for a reason. And you can't be near anyone that has coronavirus. But now there's apparently a 15-minute window. Stay away, it's fine. We could have all gone and visited our parents all along. Just make sure it was under 15 minutes. Strange one. But yeah, look, it looks like that it's not going to affect any games, and that's a good thing. And again, out of all the tests done, only 2 positive results. But you do have to question where these players are picking up the coronavirus from when they're going through these, you know, rigorous checks and everything at the moment. So interesting. Next piece of news involves Callum Hudson-Odoi, and he can certainly breathe a sigh of relief. I reported it on this show a while ago that he was arrested on an allegation of rape, and it was not a great allegation in any way, shape or form. And that would have quite simply ruined his career. It would have finished it. But I did say in that show, innocent until proven guilty. And that you do have to, you know, be cautious in that sense that, you know, the man has not been found guilty and that you cannot go and treat him like a guilty man. But Callum Hudson-Odoi will not face any further action over allegations of rape, the Chelsea winger has said in a statement. Hudson-Odoi was arrested on May the 17th and released on bail, but the England international says the police will not take the case further. The England international wrote on Twitter, "At a time where there were bigger things happening in the world right now, you may also be aware of serious allegations that were made against me. I have stayed silent and assisted the police fully throughout their inquiries, as I knew this day would soon come when my name would be cleared. Following a full and thorough investigation, the police have now confirmed they will take no further action. I have learned that being a footballer and playing for one of the best clubs in the world comes with great responsibility, and going forward I will try and use my platform as a Chelsea player to be the best role model that I can be." A statement from the Metropolitan Police read, "A man arrested on Sunday the 17th of May following an allegation of rape has been released with no further action." So what I will say to that is very, very good news for Callum Hudson-Odoi. And I suppose, you know, some people will say, well, what about the lady in question now? If there's no evidence, has she made up lies? If she has, then she should be arrested, because that's most definitely one thing that should be dealt with, not just on this case, but, you know, people that make false allegations in general, especially false allegations of rape, and then it's proven that they were lying. Yeah, they should be going to prison. Absolutely no question about that at all, because this could ruin people's lives. But listen, Callum Hudson-Odoi, he's proved his innocence. And like I say, innocent until proven guilty. He's not guilty, he's innocent. And what you hope now is that he will learn from this, realise that he's a high profile player and he needs to act accordingly. And hopefully, you know, this will make him grow up a lot quicker. And he can now get his head down, get on with playing football and concentrate on those sides of things in his life. You know, forget all that partying lifestyle and all the girls coming around to the hotels and everything. Concentrate on football. You've got a talent. Don't waste it. So good news for Callum Hudson-Odoi. Last piece of news involves Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and he has opened up on his Arsenal contract situation, declaring his decision whether to sign a new deal or look to exit as possibly the most important decision of my career. The Gunners skipper is entering his final year of his contract and could well leave the club this summer. Arsenal Chiefs are keen not to lose their star man for nothing next year, but Aubameyang has not signed fresh terms. The 30-year-old has now suggested the ball is still in Arsenal's court if they are keen to hand him a long-term deal. He told French outlet Telefoot, "I haven't recently received a proposition, but of course there have been discussions with the club. It's them, the club, who have the keys and for them to do their work. Afterwards we will see what happens. Aubameyang is believed to be demanding a salary increase to bring his wage closer to that of club's top earner Mesut Ozil, who is on 350 grand a week. It also goes on to say that Arsenal are currently struggling to qualify for the Champions League, and it is unclear to what extent they will invest in the playing squad over the summer transfer window, something Aubameyang is clearly taking into account. It is a turning point in my career. I have been very frank with everyone. I will be, of course, a very difficult decision to make. It is possibly the most important decision of my career, but so far nothing has been decided. So listen, that's very, very straightforward, and Aubameyang has very much put the ball back in Arsenal's court. And he very clearly states there that Arsenal hold the keys to what he does next. And one of his, reasoning and, stalling on a contract, shall we say, is that he wants to know where the club's going. What's the ambition? This is going to be his last big contract in football. He wants to know whether Arsenal are going to have the money to buy the players, to build a squad that can compete and challenge within the next couple of years. Or is this going to be the same old, and Aubameyang's just going to waste the last few years of his career? And he doesn't want that. And I actually respect that decision if that's what it comes to, because he's at an age where he now needs to make the right decision. This is the last big move in his career. And yeah, it's very much up to Arsenal now. They've got the keys. The ball's in their court. What do? You're hearing reports that we've got over £200 million available to spend on transfers, and there's going to be no FFP to worry about, so that we can actually spend that. Now, if Aubameyang's sitting down and having negotiations with the club, and Mikel Arteta is laying out his plans, and the club say, we're not going to be funding that, and it's going to be a difficult time, and we've got to, take a few years to get everything up to where you may want it. But it's going to be too late for Aubameyang. He's going to have to move to pastures new. But if the club are willing to spend that £200 million and bring in the right players, then I think that will be enough to show Aubameyang the ambition. If we do have £230 million to spend, like is the suggestion, then we can easily go and buy the players that's needed to compete. Absolutely all day long. You think of the defensive midfield, you think of a centre-back, you can even get a right-back. You can get a goal-scoring midfielder. Absolutely no chance, that we wouldn't be able to compete if you go and get those kind of players. We've got the goalkeeper, we've got Saliba coming in, and other centre-backs that can help out. The left-back situation's fine. We've got enough wingers, we've got enough attackers. If you brought in that defensive midfielder like a Thomas Partey, a defender like an Upamecano, someone in the attacking areas that can score goals like a Philip Coutinho, which could be a loan deal, so wouldn't even go into that budget, then all day you could spend that money and have change left over. Of course you could. But it remains to be seen what Stan Kroenke's going to do, and whether he's actually going to dip into his pocket and allow some of that money. So we will wait and see. And what's key as well will be how we finish the season and whether we're in the Champions League, because that could be a big contributing factor. Because if we're in the Champions League and then we do invest, then that really could, project us and the players that we get for the next season or so. And it could be the turning point for Aubameyang staying or leaving. So there we go. That is it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think about today's topics. Let me know what you think about that Tottenham and Norwich game and the whole social distancing thing. Let me know what you think about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Will he stay? Will he go? It's an interesting one. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. And I will see you lot tomorrow, because there will be not just DT's Daily, there will be a preview. It's been ages since I've done one. A preview to Manchester City against Arsenal with a predicted lineup. So make sure you keep an eye for that, because I'm looking forward to doing it. I'll see you lot soon. I'm out of here.